Hey, beautiful soul. Oh, welcome to Soulful Saturdays with Saylor. Around here, we cut through the noise, ditch the fluff, and dive straight into what matters: spiritual wellness, radical self acceptance, and unapologetic soulful living. Each week, I'll bring you truth with a side of sass, reflections that wake you up, and reminders that you are glorious. So, whether you've got your journal, your coffee, or that wild, messy bun, you are exactly where you need to be. So, beautiful soul, we need to talk for a minute because I have a question for you. When did being exhausted become the gold medal of adulthood? Seriously. Somewhere along the way, we started wearing our exhaustion like a badge of honor. Such as, I only slept for 4 hours last night. Oh, I've been running all day. I haven't had a minute to myself. And everybody around us responds with, wow, you're amazing. And I'm sitting here thinking, are we sure we're celebrating the right thing? Because maybe we're not amazing because we're exhausted. Maybe we are exhausted because we've been carrying way too much. Somewhere along the way, we confused burnout with success. We started thinking busy meant important, that being needed meant being valuable, that if our calendar wasn't packed from sunrise to sunset, we must not be doing enough. So, can I give you a little sailor sass? Because uh, busy has become the new designer handbag. Everybody's carrying it around. Oh, this is my Louis Vuitton of stress. It goes perfectly with my anxiety. Yes, enjoy that giggle. So, beautiful soul, if your planner needs a planner, we might have a situation. And if your calendar has so many colors, it looks like a box of Fruit Loops, I have a question. One question for you. When exactly are you living your life? Because here's what I know. You were never created to prove your worth through exhaustion. You were never meant to hustle so hard that you miss the beautiful moments happening right in front of you. Somewhere along the way, we started believing that slowing down meant falling behind, that resting meant we're lazy, that productivity determined our value. And beautiful soul, today we're going to lovingly throw that lie right into the trash. Because rest isn't quitting, rest isn't a weakness, rest is wisdom. And we're going to talk about why learning to pause might just be one of the most powerful leadership skills you can develop. So I want to have a little heart to heart with you because we're living in a culture that has turned being busy into a full-time competition. We go, we do, produce, achieve, repeat, and somehow we wear exhaustion like it's a superhero cape. Oh, I'm just so busy. I have so much going on. I don't even remember the last time I relaxed. And instead of saying, someone saying, "Ooh, friend, are you okay?" We usually say, wow, look at you go. So wait a minute. Are we celebrating the fact that someone is running on empty? Because here's the thing. If you sit still for 5 minutes without there someone is posting about how they woke up at 4:30 in the morning, they did their meditation, drank their green smoothie, ran 6 miles, wrote a book, launched a business, made homemade sourdough, raised 4 children, and somehow still looks like they walked out of a magazine. Hmm. Meanwhile, we're standing in our kitchen wondering if cereal for dinner counts as a meal prep. Beautiful soul, I see you. And honestly, sometimes cereal is self-quick. It is self-care. And don't judge. And here's where it gets tricky. Social media has created this illusion that everybody else is doing more. They're accomplishing more. They're living better. They're somehow winning at life. But let's remember, most people are showing you their highest and their highlight reel. They're not showing you behind the scenes blooper reel. Nobody is posting, hey, friend, today I stared at my laundry pile for 20 minutes and then decided it needed emotional support before I folded it. Yep. Did that come out right? You know what I think I need to do? Let's say that one more time because I think I fumbled a little bit. Hey, friend, today I stared at my laundry pile for 20 minutes and then decided it needed emotional support before I folded it. And you know what? I see all the time women who finally sit down, maybe for the first time all day, and within 30 seconds, their brain starts screaming, oh, you should be folding the laundry. You should be answering that email. You should clean that bathroom. You should do something. Does any of this sound familiar? Notice that little word, should. Should might just be the world's favorite guilt trip. Because somewhere along the way, we attach our identity to our productivity. We started believing if I accomplish more, I matter more. And can I lovingly remind you, no, that is not how it works. Your worth is not measured by your completed checklist. Your value does not increase because you answered 17 emails before breakfast. You don't become more lovable because your house is spotless. You don't become more worthy because you check every box today. You were valuable before your first to-do list ever existed, before anybody needed anything from you, before you accomplished a single thing. You mattered simply because you are you. And maybe, just maybe, rest is the reminder that we've been needing all along. Oh, blessings. Well, beautiful souls, sometimes you cannot plan on a sneeze attack. So forgive me, had to disappear there for a minute. So, back to our fabulous program. Now, let's really get down to the nitty-gritty because I want to talk about something that might feel a little uncomfortable. Rest. Yes, rest. That beautiful little word that somehow makes so many of us feel guilty. Isn't that interesting? Nobody feels guilty when they buy another planner. Nobody feels guilty when they add another commitment to their calendar. Nobody feels guilty saying yes to everyone else. But the minute we say, I'm going to take an afternoon for myself, suddenly our brain goes, wait, are we allowed to do that? So, like, who made the rules? Because somewhere along the way, we decided that rest meant we're lazy, that taking a break meant that we were ambitious, that slowing down meant we were falling behind. But I'm here to lovingly challenge that belief today because rest isn't quitting, rest is recovery. There's a difference. Quitting says, I don't care anymore. Rest says, I care enough to take care of myself so I can keep going. Yes, yes. That is a whole different conversation because the strongest people I know are not the ones who never stopped. They are the ones who know when it's time to pause. Think about the strongest athletes. They don't train 7 days a week without recovery. Why? Because they know their muscles grow during rest. Think about nature. A tree doesn't spend every season to prove its productivity. A tree doesn't stand there in the middle of winter saying, oh no, everyone else is blooming. I better hurry up. Can you imagine a little tree standing there with a tiny planter saying, Monday, grow branches. Tuesday, produce leaves. Wednesday, become inspirational. Nature doesn't work that way. Trees have seasons, flowers have seasons, the ocean has cycles and rhythms. Oh, and the moon, yes, it also has cycles. Everything in creation understands the importance of rest, except sometimes us. We act like we are somehow exempt from the very rhythms that we were created to follow. And maybe, just maybe that's why so many of us feel drained because we are fighting our own natural rhythm. We are trying to bloom all year long. Trees don't bloom all year, neither should we. There are seasons for planting, seasons for growing, seasons for harvesting, and yes, excuse me, there are seasons for, wait for it, resting. The resting season is not a wasted season. It is preparation. It is restoration. It is where your roots grow deeper. And you know what happens when roots grow deeper? The tree becomes stronger. It can withstand storms. It can continue growing. And the same is true for us. Rest gives us the strength to handle the storms. It gives our heart room to heal. It gives our soul a chance to catch up with our busy lives. Because let's be honest, sometimes our body is sitting on the couch, but our mind is still running a marathon. Mm-hmm. Anyone else agree with that? Mm-hmm. Go ahead. Throw your hand up high. Because mine is up there. It certainly is. You can physically stop, but your brain is over there creating a grocery list, planning next week's schedule, remembering the email you forgot to send 3 weeks ago, because apparently your brain has a filing cabinet full of random things it wants to remind you about at 11:47 at night. What if rest became something you honored instead of something you apologized for? What if you stopped seeing rest as a reward that you earned after you've done enough and started seeing it as something that you need because you are human? Because here's the truth. You don't have to break yourself to prove that you are committed. You don't have to exhaust yourself to prove that you are worthy. You don't have to run yourself into the ground to prove that you matter. The most powerful version of you is not the exhausted version. It's the restored version, the version who has space to think, space to create, space to love, space to laugh, space to simply be. So, beautiful soul, this week I want you to notice something. Notice where you resist rest. Notice where your guilt shows up. Notice that little voice that says, you should be doing something. And instead of fighting it, just gently ask, why? Why do I believe I have to earn rest? Why do I believe my value comes from what I accomplish? Why have I forgotten that I am worthy simply because I exist? Because maybe rest isn't something that we have to learn how to do. Maybe rest is something we have to remember. So I want to confess something with you. The first time I intentionally took an afternoon off, oh boy, I was terrible at it. Absolutely terrible. I thought I was going to be amazing at resting. I thought I would sit down with my coffee, maybe read a book, enjoy the quiet, just breathe. And all those things people say when they talk about relaxing, just take some time for yourself. It sounds so simple, right? Well, apparently my version of relaxing was sitting on the couch while mentally making a list of everything I wasn't doing. I sat there, looked around, and suddenly my house started talking to me. I promise you, I could hear it. The dishes in the sink whispered, Cindy. The laundry pile looked at me like, are we just going to pretend I don't exist? The dust on the bookshelf practically introduced itself. Hi, Cindy. We've been neighbors for 3 weeks now. Oh, beautiful soul. My house had more conversations with me that afternoon than some people. And instead of resting, you know what I did? Yeah, you know what I did. I got up. I cleaned the kitchen. I straightened the pillows. I wiped down the counters. I picked up the things that probably didn't need picking up. And then after all that, I stood there proudly and said, okay, now we've earned your nap. Oh, beautiful soul. Does anyone else negotiate with themselves like that? I'll rest after go ahead, fill in the blank. After I clean, after I finish this project, after everyone else is taken care of, after I answer one more email, after I handle one more problem, after I make sure everybody else is okay, after. Here's the problem. After never arrives because the to-do list is sneaky. You check off 3 things and somehow 5 more appear. It's like your list is reproducing when you're not looking. It's like little productivity gremlins are running around saying, oh, look, Cindy's finished something. Quick, add some more. Oh, and here's the thing, you just can't win that game because there will always be something else. There will always be another email, another load of laundry, another appointment, another responsibility. And that was the moment everything finally clicked for me. Why was I making myself earn something that was already designed into creation? Think about it. Creation itself understands rhythm. There's a day and there's a night. There's a summer, there's a winter. There's a tide that comes in and there's a tide that goes out. The moon has phases, the seasons change, trees bloom, and then they rest. They don't apologize for it. They don't stand there in the winter saying, oh my goodness, everyone else is growing. I better hurry up. No, they understand something that we often forget. Rest is part of the process. Even your heart, the very thing keeping you alive every single day, knows this. It beats and then pauses. It beats and then pauses. And the pause isn't weakness. The pause is what allows it to keep going. Everything in creation has a rhythm except us. We are over here acting like we're solar powered robots, just charging ourselves over and over again with caffeine and determination. No worries, I don't need rest. I have coffee. And yes, coffee's wonderful. We love coffee around here, but coffee is not a replacement for restoration. And this is where I really want us to shift this conversation, because rest isn't the reward for finishing something. Because here's the spoiler alert for you. You are never going to finish everything. Ever. Ever. There will always be something to do. Rest is not what you earn when the work is done. Rest is part of how you stay healthy enough to continue doing the work. And that, my beautiful soul, is leadership. Real leadership. Because leadership isn't constantly running yourself in the ground. Leadership isn't showing up and showing everyone how much you can carry until you collapse. Leadership is knowing yourself well enough to say, I need a pause. I need a moment. I need to refill my own cup, because I cannot continue pouring from an empty one. And whether you are leading a family, a business, a classroom, a team, a community, or your beautiful life, the strongest leaders understand recovery. Look at the athletes. The best athletes in the world don't train every single day. They recover. They rest their muscles. They allow their bodies to rebuild. Musicians understand this. Artists understand this. Performers understand this. The greatest people in their fields know that recovery is where growth happens. So why do we think that we are somehow the exception? Why do we believe that we have to push harder, do more, carry more, and prove more? Beautiful friend, maybe the next level of your growth isn't found in doing more. Maybe it's found in allowing yourself to pause long enough to hear what your soul has been trying to tell you. Maybe your best ideas are waiting in the quiet. Maybe your joy is waiting in the pause. Maybe the version of you that you are trying so hard to become is waiting for you to slow down enough to meet her. So this week, I want you to experiment. Don't overhaul your entire life. Don't create a 17-step rest routine. Because let's be honest, some of us would create a spreadsheet for relaxation. Monday, schedule rest. Tuesday, evaluate rest. Wednesday, review rest matrix. No, no, no. Let's not do that. Because that's not rest. You're actually creating some more work, or actually a full-time job. So instead, try one thing. Give yourself permission to pause. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, an afternoon if you can. And when that little voice says you should be doing something, just smile and say, I am. I'm taking care of the person who does everything else. Because I matter. Yes, I do. And that beautiful soul, yeah, it matters. It matters. So I hope you're going to try that this week. So I want to tell you what changed for me. I stopped seeing rest as quitting, and I started seeing rest as, restoration. And it was a game changer because for so long I thought rest meant I was stopping. I thought it meant that I wasn't trying hard enough. Uh, I actually thought it meant that I was actually falling behind because I only saw what wasn't getting done. And you know what I realized? Wasn't stopping me from moving forward. Rest was actually helping me move forward with more clarity, more energy, and more joy. Rest isn't a weakness, my friend. Rest is wisdom. It is you saying, I care enough about the future version of me that I'm going to take care of today's version of me. Let's sit with that for a second. Because so many of us are really good at taking care of everybody else. We remember birthdays, we show up when everyone needs us. We answer the phone, we help, we fix, we give, we pour. And then when it comes to ourselves, we're like, okay, I'll take care of myself later. How long have we been putting ourselves on the waiting list? Because some of us have been waiting so long that we need to send ourselves a reminder card. Dear me, just checking in. Remember that you matter too. hmm You cannot pour from an empty coffee mug. Trust me, I've tried. And let me tell you, the thing that comes out is error and disappointment. And nobody wants disappointment, especially not around here. Because seriously, when you begin honoring your own rhythms, something beautiful starts to happen. You begin to come back to yourself. Your creativity starts showing up again. Those ideas that you've been chasing, those dreams that you've been putting on the shelf, suddenly they have space to breathe. Because when your mind is constantly running on what's next, there isn't much room for inspiration to enter. When you pause, when you create space, that's when those little whispers come through. Try this, create that, call her, take the next step. Your intuition gets louder when the noise gets quieter. And beautiful soul, something else happens. Your patient gets a little longer. Maybe sometimes the smallest things can feel like the biggest things when we're exhausted. The slow driver in front of you, the person who takes forever in the checkout line, the email that starts with just circling back. When you're depleted, everything feels like a personal attack. When you're rested, you have a little more grace, a little more compassion, a little more room to breathe. Your laughter comes back. And funny, food tastes better. And when you really see the sunset, you could see how bright it is. And sometimes music hits differently. You stop rushing through your life and you start noticing your life again. And maybe my favorite part is that your nervous system finally gets to exhale. You know that feeling when you realize that you've been holding your breath, but you didn't even know that you were doing it. That's what happens. Your body finally gets the message. We're safe. we can soften, we can breathe, and your body whispers, thank you, thank you. Rest isn't just about sleep, although, let's be clear, a good nap can be a spiritual experience. I'm just saying, rest is so much more than closing your eyes. Rest is giving your soul permission to breathe. It is creating space for peace. It is honoring the rhythm of your own life. Because here's the thing. Nature never apologizes for having seasons. Trees don't bloom every single season. Flowers don't apologize for winter. The ocean doesn't stay on high tide all day. The sun doesn't shine 24 hours a day. Everything in nature understands balance, understands rhythm, and understands that renewal is necessary. So maybe, just maybe, it's time we stop apologizing for ours. Maybe it's time that we stop saying, sorry, I need a break, and start saying, I am honoring what I need. The most beautiful version of you is not the one who is constantly exhausted trying to prove something. The most beautiful version of you is the one who is resting enough to fully show up. So this week, give yourself permission. That's right. Give yourself permission to pause, to breathe, to rest, and remember, because I have to remind myself, we're not falling behind. We are restoring the energy that we need for everything else that's waiting for us. So I want to give you a little nudge this week. And this is your Soulful Saturday challenge. So before you add one more thing to your calendar, I want you to pause. And just for a moment, and I want you to ask yourself, what if I protected my peace as fiercely as I protect everyone else's schedule? You sit with that for a second. Because maybe the most productive thing you'll do this week isn't crossing another item off your list. Maybe it's taking a walk, reading a chapter of that book, sitting on the porch with your coffee, watching the sunset without taking a picture of it. Maybe it's taking that nap. Yes, I said it. Take the darn nap. And you don't need permission. It's not required from anyone, only from you. That's right. Give yourself permission to take the darn nap. Beautiful soul, you are worth taking that nap. Your worth isn't measured by how tired you are. It's measured by the fact that you are wonderfully made and you need rest. So please be kind to yourself. Protect your peace, honor your rhythms, and remember, a well-rested soul shines a whole lot brighter than an exhausted one. And because around here, we're not just surviving, we are living gloriously. And that, my friend, is our episode on rest isn't lazy, it is leadership. Thank you for tuning in, beautiful souls. Take this week to listen to the whispers and remember, your soul knows the way. And as you move through your week, carry this truth in your heart. You are worthy, you are radiant, and your presence matters. And never forget, stay soulful, stay sassy, stay you. I'll see you next Saturday, beautiful soul. Same time, same vibe, same glorious energy.